Alright, you guys saw the title of the video. So, this recent NFL trade deadline that just went down, it was insane to say the least. And I didn't really have a time to make an individual reaction for all the trades that went down, from October 31st to November 1st. So because of that, I'm just going to kind of make kind of large video recapping all the trades that happened in the last 2 days of the deadline. And, just giving my thoughts on them. So, yeah, let's just get this thing started. And I should probably put this disclaimer out there, but I'm not reacting to the James Robinson and Christian McCaffrey trades because those happened before October 31st, and I also made reaction videos on those before. But yeah, without further ado, now we can get started. So, let's start off with the Roquan Smith trade. So, the Ravens ended up getting Roquan Smith, and the Bears, they got a 2023 second-round pick, a 2023 fifth-round pick, and I believe some player in return. But, yeah, Roquan Smith is a Baltimore Raven now, and I gotta say, it's a win-win trade for both sides, in my opinion, When you look at it from the Bears side of things, I think they should have paid Roquan Smith, but that being said, I do get why they traded him. When you're in a rebuild, you want to be careful about handing out expensive contracts. And Roquan Smith, he's having a slight down year because his run-stopping ability hasn't been very good this year. And, the Bears were just kind of hesitant when it came to paying him. And he was going to want a lot of money. And, for as good as he is a linebacker. But, that being said, Roquan Smith is one of the best linebackers in the NFL. And while I do believe the Bears should have paid him, I do understand why they traded him. And, I think they got pretty good compensation for him. So, I'll give the Bears a B+. For the Baltimore Ravens, I think this is also a pretty good trade. I mean, Roquan Smith is one of the best linebackers in the NFL, and this is going to help you compete. And, the Ravens' defense has been pretty underwhelming this year, to say the least, and I think he could really help them turn the ship around, and linebacker's not exactly a strong point when it comes to Baltimore. I mean, Patrick Queen, he just hasn't been very good for the Ravens, and honestly, it might be time for the Ravens to kind of just move on from him, he's athletic and he can stop the run, but I mean, aside from that, he's not very good. And Roquan Smith, I think he's still capable of being a great run stopper, but unlike Patrick Queen, the guy's very good in coverage. So, yeah, I really do love this trade for the Baltimore Ravens and the Bears. I'm going to give the Ravens a B+, maybe. Speaking of the Bears, let's talk about Chase Claypool going to the Bears. So yeah, Chase Claypool got traded to the Bears in exchange for a 2023 second-round pick, and like the previous trade, I think this is also a win-win, because when you look at it from the Steelers' point of view, they had a great wide receiver core with Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, and George Pickens. However, it was going to be really hard to keep all three guys long-term, and Chase Claypool, he's just been a little bit disappointing ever since, his rookie year. And he is also, I believe, oh no, he's not the oldest, but I don't think so. But, yeah, man, I do get why the Steelers why they traded Chase Claypool. So, yeah, and they got a pretty good return for Chase Claypool. So because of that, I am going to give the Steelers an A-. For the Chicago Bears, I'm also going to give them an A- because this is a very good trade for them. Now, I get it's a slight overpay. I would have given up a third-round pick, but that being said, I mean, they used that Ravens second-round pick to get Chase Claypool, and Chase Claypool's going to help out a lot, even though he has been a little bit disappointing ever since his rookie year, he's still a very good wide receiver, and I think his skill set pairs very well when it comes with Justin Fields. And, you get Justin Fields another good weapon, and I gotta say, aside from Darnell Mooney, there just weren't a whole lot of, great receiving weapons on the Bears, but now they got a pretty good one, so I really do love this move for the Bears. Then we got TJ Hawkinson going to the Vikings for a 2023 second round pick and a 2023 a 2023 fifth round pick, yes, a 2023 second and fifth, but this one really blew me away because I did not think he was going to get traded, let alone to a division rival of the Lions, you know, like, I gotta say, I do understand why the Lions traded him because their season is kind of over. I don't think they really plan on doing much aside from maybe just trying to get a few more wins. And the Lions also, like, when it comes to TJ Hawkinson, he's a good player, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, he was picked top 10, and when you pick a tight end top 10, you expect them to be great, and simply put, he hasn't exactly been great. He's only been good. And then, the other thing is that they were gonna have to pay him soon, and I just don't think they really wanted to pay him. So I get why the Lions traded him, and I think they got a good return. But why would you trade him to a division rival? Like, that makes no sense at all, in my opinion. You know, you should have traded him to a team like the Titans or like the Saints or something like that. You know, like, it just makes no sense why they traded him to the Vikings. And because of that, I'm going to give the Lions like a B minus or like a C plus. You know, good compensation. I understand why they traded him, but they traded him to the wrong team. As for the Vikings, I like this a lot. Like, they have a very good offense already, but now you're adding a top 10 tight end. And sure, you got to give up a second round pick, but hey, I think it should be worth it. Like, TJ Hawkinson, he's really good, and I think he still has, like, some time left to potentially become, like, a top 5 tight end in this league. And, Irv Smith, it was actually revealed after the TJ Hawkinson trade went down that Irv Smith suffered an injury, and he's going to be out, like, 8 to 10 weeks. So, I mean, that's going to be pretty, prayers up to Irv Smith. But, you know, TJ Hawkinson is a top 10 tight end, and when it comes to Irv Smith, like, yeah, he's got potential, but at the same time, you know, like, at some point, you got to stop giving chances, and he's just been so injury-prone the past few years, and TJ Hawkinson, he gives you a guy who's a top 10 tight end while also offering, you know, some potential, and probably even more than when it comes to Irv Smith. And I will say, TJ Hawkinson's also injury prone, but I do like this trade for Minnesota. I'm going to give them probably a B plus. Now, after that, we got Bradley Chubb going to the Miami Dolphins in exchange for a 2023 first-round pick and Chase Edmonds. Good trade for both sides. I like this a lot for Miami. You get a very good edge rusher. Now, I will say, a first-round pick is quite a bit, not to mention, Bradley Chubb, he is pretty injury-prone, and I didn't really think edge rusher was, like, a massive need for the Dolphins. But, I mean, Bradley Chubb's a very good player, and maybe he can stay healthy in Miami, and if he does stay healthy with the Dolphins, then I think Bradley Chubb has a chance to be one of the best edge rushers in the NFL for them. You know, he was playing very well for the Broncos before he got traded, so I like it a lot for the Dolphins. I will give them a B plus. For the Broncos, also a pretty good trade. I mean, you got a first-round pick, and I get Bradley Chubb's a really good player, so it does kind of hurt that you had to give him up. And my brother's a Broncos fan, and he was really sad when this happened. But that being said, I think it was a good haul for Bradley Chubb, and I do get why they traded him. I think they really just traded him largely due to the fact that he is going to be a free agent in this upcoming offseason. And you know, he has been pretty injury prone, I will say that, and they also needed some draft picks, and, you know, the fact that they got a first round pick for him is pretty good. So, I'm going to give the Broncos probably a B. Also, Chase Edmonds, forgot to mention him. Chase Edmonds, I think, is a pretty decent running back. I don't think he's really much like a starter, but I think he can be a good RB2, and yeah, he's a good player, but pretty much all I got to say for this Bradley Chubb trade. And to wrap things up, we got the Calvin Ridley going to the Jacksonville Jaguars trade. So, wow, this one also caught me off guard. I did not expect this at all. Like, I gotta say, I didn't really, in a way, I feel like the league kind of forgot about Calvin Ridley, but he got traded to the Jacksonville Jaguars in exchange for a 2023 fifth round pick and a conditional fourth round pick that can become a second round pick if there are some incentives that are met. But I like this trade a lot for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, I know he's gonna miss the rest of this year, but you get one of the best one of the better receivers in the league. You know, when he's on the field, you know, you get Calvin Ridley, who, as I said before, he's a really good player. And, you know, Christian Kirk and Calvin Ridley, I think that's a good wide receiver duo, and you're helping out your young quarterback a lot, you know. And Calvin Ridley, I think he's got a really good skill set as a number one wide receiver. And Christian Kirk, I think he's a very, very good wide receiver too. So, really good move for the Jaguars' part. Then for the Falcons, I'll be honest, I don't know what to think about this trade for them. I get why they traded Calvin Ridley, and I guess I understand why the return they got for him is kind of little, because he's going to miss the rest of this year, and, you know, his lack of ability over the past few years has been an issue. But I guess I'll give them a C. I really don't know what to say about the Falcons. I think I'm just going to give them a C. I get why they got pretty little for Calvin Ridley, but at the same time, I get why they got so little, and I understand why they traded him. But aside from that, that's pretty much all I gotta say for this video. This trade deadline, it was really crazy, as I said before, but thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.